For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is up. Wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Walk for Democracy, which started this morning outside the office of the leader of the opposition and went through certain parts of the capital and ending in front of the island's parliament, which met earlier on today. And that is to look at a range of issues, but of course the dominant matter would have been the motion before the island's House of Assembly to be voted on so that the suspension on Mr. Alan Chastanet, former Prime Minister and also MP for Mico South, would be lifted. And I think the debate is still going on this particular motion. Just before the motion was presented, or just after the motion was presented, the leader of the opposition walked out of the island's parliament and went into the arms of supporters of his opposition United Workers' Party. We'll have a lot to report on during the course of our program. Some of what transpired, some of the contributions made by one MP in particular. And of course, I'll be hearing from you during the course of the broadcast at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. We might have a few surprises for you. You never know. That's the norm here on this program. The question of the day, why a walk for democracy? The question of the day, why a walk for democracy? And some of you have been commenting on our NewsSpin Facebook page. Continue to do so. And when we open the lines, I'll be giving an opportunity for you to respond to this particular question. But quite apart from proceedings in the House and politics and a walk for democracy, what else is happening? Well, we're still facing the reality of crime in St. Lucia. Never mind the focus on politics. And that particular issue will never be impactful, will never resonate with the entire St. Lucian public. I'm talking about all the politics and the exchanges, all the grandstanding that is taking place outside of Parliament and, of course, inside of the island's Parliament. There are some things that definitely in the process that we are ignoring, and that is the island's crime problem. Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of 58-year-old Francis Caldric Leons of Massey Street, Massad, in Gros-Islet. A report of a shooting was referred to the Criminal Investigations Department of the Gros-Islet Police Station at about 6:15 a.m. on Sunday, May 28, 2023. Francis Caldric Leons was later pronounced dead on the scene by a medical practitioner. A postmortem examination is scheduled for a subsequent date. There was yet another homicide which occurred over the weekend, the result of a shooting incident, and that incident occurring on Riverside Road in Castries on Saturday. And the victim of that shooting incident succumbing to his injuries 1 day later. So from the police, a press release, I'll be going through it momentarily, and that press release reads, police are investigating the circumstances surrounding a shooting at Riverside Road, Castries. A report of a shooting was referred to the Criminal Investigations Department at about 1:50 p.m. on Saturday, May the 27th. On arrival on the scene, officers were informed that one male individual was shot multiple times at Riverside Road, Castries. He was transported to the Owen King European Union Hospital via an ambulance. He was later identified as 49-year-old Gandalf Adonis alias Tupac of Pave, Castries. On Sunday, May 28, 2023, police officers were informed by a medical practitioner that Gandalf Adonis succumbed to his injuries. A post-mortem examination is scheduled for a later date. The Royal St. Lucia Police Force, according to a press release, wishes to urge anyone with information regarding this incident to contact the nearest police station or the Criminal Investigations Department at 456-3770, 456-37, that should be 456-3817, or the crime hotline at 555 for anonymous reporting. So the island recording some 2 homicides over the weekend. There's also a drowning incident, according to the police. So let us look at a particular matter, and that is the matter that is before the island's parliament. You can recall that May the 2nd is the sitting of the House of Assembly, and the MP for Micoud South was asked to apologize because of a statement that he made, and he did not acquiesce to the request that was made by the Speaker of the House. Then he took the matter before the courts, and in response there was an affidavit in response to the application for an interim injunction. That affidavit came from the Deputy Prime Minister, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, and I have a copy of that affidavit. I'll just read the relevant part of it. And it says, I have consulted with my government colleagues on the matter. That's referring to the suspension of the leader of the opposition. And I'm made to understand that they, along with me, remain of the view that in keeping with the rules and procedures of the House, the correct decision was arrived at with respect to the suspension of the claimant from the House on his refusal to withdraw his allegation of corruption made against the Honourable Member for Castries Central, the Prime Minister, and his cabinet. Now, before I continue with this affidavit, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, of course, this affidavit is in his name. In addressing this matter before the House earlier on today, and that is the motion for the reinstatement of Mr. Alan Chastanet, took issue with the claims that were made by the Micoud South MP in the Parliament. Because, in other words, what Dr. Hilaire, Castries South MP, is saying, Parliament is sacrosanct. There are certain things that you ought not to do within its precincts. The quorum should be the order of the day, good behavior, parliamentary language that is acceptable, and all that. And I was watching him make that statement. I was wondering that, is this an overnight thing? Is that something that we have come to appreciate all of a sudden? We have heard parliamentarians calling each other all kind of disrespectful names, claiming that they're liars, they're lying, criminals. The talk of corruption certainly would have dominated most parliamentary proceedings over several decades now, because it is all about naming and shaming. There has not been any kind of serious restraint on many of our elected MPs. Some, on their own volition, they have decided to maintain the kind of acceptable decorum and posture in the parliament and so on. But it has been a freewheeling affair for many or most parliamentarians in St. Lucia, primarily because, I mean, it's all about them. And when you make it about yourself, then you will engage in a lot of personal attacks, firing personal attacks and salvos at the opponents, political opponents, and not focus on the issues that are before you. And many people have been saying, including yours truly on this program, let us focus on the issues, let us focus on those matters that are of importance to the people. So let us hear from the MP for Castries South, Leader of Government Business, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, talking about how parliamentarians should behave in the parliament.
I think we needed to get across to the honourable member that in this honourable house there is a code of conduct. There is a manner in which you ought to behave, and there are respects, and that there are conventions and other accepted practices in this honourable house. I have been asked before to withdraw statements that I was convinced I did not have any reason to withdraw. I have been asked, Mr. Speaker, during my 5 years in opposition, to express my apologies for what I would have said because another member would have felt offended. Even if I felt I was right, when the Speaker asked me to, I acceded, Mr. Speaker. I never showed disrespect, even when I believe I was right. And our actions today is to show to the honourable member, not that any one of us in particular, but as a collective, this chamber, this institution that we are part of, asks that he shows respect and regard for it.
All of a sudden, that is what is required of our parliamentarians. This seems like something that is requested of parliamentarians because it is aimed at one particular MP. I thought that this applied to all 17 elected members of the House of Assembly. Why the need for the Leader of Government Business to reiterate this? I thought it ought to have been the norm over several years now. And this has come into question time after time after time, and it appears it's only now that the Leader of Government Business has come to the realization that there is need for proper behavior, acceptable behavior in the island's parliament. Also, it would appear that the rules apply only to one elected MP as far as debating a motion and not straying. I mean, so I could identify at least 3 or 4 MPs. They are noted for straying, for using any motion that is before them, that is up for debate, to deviate and to focus on other things that have nothing at all to do with the motion that is before the parliament. And the Speaker seems to be ever anxious to keep the Leader of the Opposition in line and to continue to ask him to focus on the motion that is before him. And that rule does not apply to the other MPs. There is definitely need for the procedures of the House of Assembly to be conducted in a balanced manner, in a fair manner, in an impartial manner. And right now, I have reached the conclusion that this will not happen at all, at least during the life of this Parliament, and will continue for a very long time. And maybe, just maybe, it will take some serious action on the part of civil society, persons that are, and entities that are deemed to be apolitical and neutral, to call upon those people who are presiding over the affairs of the House of Assembly to start to focus on the issues that are impacting the people. Because this proceeding today has everything to do with the lens being placed on the leader of the opposition. Every opportunity that is given to the elected MPs, rest assured that is what they will do, irrespective of homicides, irrespective of the high cost of living, and irrespective of the many challenges that we continue to experience on the island. Let's hear your call. Let's get your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Kimani is back, so she'll be going through some of your comments as we go along. So we heard from the Speaker of the House earlier on as well, when he basically reminded the parliamentarians of what transpired on May the 2nd of this year. Let us hear from the Speaker of the House, Claudius Francis.
Members will recall certain events which occurred at our last sitting on May 2nd, 2023, resulting in the suspension of the member from Mico South. Much has transpired since, including the filing of an action in the High Court by the member. In the course of the preliminary hearing, there was an intervention from the member for Castries South in his capacity as leader of government business in this honorable House. Suffice it to say that that intervention has resulted in the member for Mico South being present here today, but with conditions. Among the conditions agreed to and endorsed by the High Court is one which allows the member for Mico South to be in his seat, but the member is not allowed to participate in any form or fashion in the proceedings until the motion to temporarily lift the suspension pending the outcome of the conclusion of the member's court action is completed. I reiterate that though the member is present, he is barred from participating in the House proceedings until the motion is voted on.
That's the Speaker of the House, Mr. Claudius Francis. So, while the motion is being debated, the leader of the opposition has to just remain in his seat, and salvo after salvo will be fired after him, and he should just stay there and be a prime target. Let's take your calls. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Tim, how are you?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
How was your weekend?
Very good.
I don't know. I am listening to this, and I'm like, wow. You know, is it true that that is the House of Parliament of St. Lucia now? No, serious. Do we have to go with all of these nonsenses resulting to court, resulted into suspensions and ban and, you know, all sorts of this, just because we have, I'm not the right, sorry, that's not the word I'm looking for, because we have 15 seats in Parliament. Is that what the people of St. Lucia want to see? We thought when Parliament would have been seriously dealing with the issues, the affairs of the country. And Tim, while I am on that, although I did not listen to that program when you had the pastor, what was his name again?
Mr. St. Rose.
Pastor St. Rose, sorry. And but I did went back and listen to that program with you, and it's fantastic, very great. Pastor Alan St. Rose, sorry. But the question that is serious in this right now is, where is St. Lucia stand right now? With unemployment, the cost of high unemployment, you wonder sometimes how certain people are surviving in society, whether they vote for the Labour Party or they vote for the United Workers' Party. Right now, there there is an outcry there right now. When you go to certain places, like in the supermarket, and you reach there, you find some certain person outside, and they tell you, "Mister, please, I'm trying to buy that for the children to send them to school, and I just had $20. If you can get a 10 from you or 15 from you." You never had reason to reach in something like that.
Yeah, this is commonplace, Colin.
So I am saying this: if we concern about our people and we want to put our people first, we have to look in at bread and butter that the children want to eat. They're tired of having go to court politics and that and this. How long can we continue to play that? And while the country is bleeding, up to now we don't know. How much have the government put for the youth unemployment, youth allocation, whatever it is? We don't know. I don't know if you know, Tim. As a journalist, these are things probably you can find out how much, and we don't know that. There are so many things that is plaguing this country. All we care about is to protect the victory. Whether you support the United Workers' Party or the Labour Party, you are protecting the victory, and we don't care. So the next 3 or 4.5 to 5 years, we have to go back and vote this very same party back in office. Whether they do good or they do bad, we just have to vote them because we became so party loyalists. And that's why sometimes when Mr. Bermuda says certain things, there are times you don't want to give them the latitude. I know, in respect to what he might, some of the things that he's saying. But we have a lot of people in St. Lucia that needs to read and understand what you're reading. St. Lucia has too many people that downs because common sense persons would demand to a party, not because I vote you can do what you want. We need to see something happen.
Okay, caller, thank you so much. We'll have to let me turn my attention to the affidavit because I started reading it and I stopped. So you have one. I'm presently the Deputy Prime Minister of St. Lucia, an honorable member for Castries South. And this is coming from Dr. Ernest Ile. I make this affidavit in response to an application for an interim injunction against the Speaker of the House filed on May the 9th, 2023, with an accompanying affidavit in response. Therefore, insofar as the contents of this affidavit are within my personal knowledge, it is true, and insofar as it is not within my personal knowledge, it is true to the best of my information and belief. 2. I have viewed the notice of application which seeks to restrain the Speaker from excluding or otherwise preventing the claimant from attending and participating as a member of the House of Assembly at any sitting of the House and or from entering the precincts of the House until the conclusion of the trial. 3. I have consulted with my government colleagues on the matter, and I am made to understand that they, along with me, remain of the view that, in keeping with the rules and procedures of the House, the correct decision was arrived at with respect to the suspension of the claimant from the House on his refusal to withdraw his allegation of corruption made against the member for Castries Central, the Prime Minister and Cabinet. 4. That notwithstanding, I am authorized to inform the Court that the government members of the House have considered the needs of the constituents of Mako South to have representation in the House and the need to have the minority views in the House canvassed, and have accordingly decided that on May the 16th, 2023, or such other later date, that the House may convene, a government member of the House will propose a motion to lift the sanction against the claimant, which is the subject of the present dispute. 5. Once the motion is carried, the claimant will be allowed to return to the House to carry on his duties in service of the House and for the constituents of Mico South. Part of the affidavit submitted by Dr. Ernest Hilaire to the court. We have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Timothy.
Hi, good afternoon to you, sir.
And good afternoon to your co-host, if she's there. I haven't heard her voice yet.
Good afternoon. Hi.
Yeah. Timothy, you know, I really thought things were bad in St. Lucia. I really thought things were bad in St. Lucia. But, let me rephrase that. I thought things were bad in Parliament. But really and truly, things have gotten even worse. And I don't know how further down it could go. The leader of government business made her out. Obviously, if we had to take what he said, he was so concerned about the people of Mico South, right? When he put in that affidavit. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Could you believe it? That instead of coming and taking the first order of business of reversing that motion that they took, you know, I really feel saddened for that Speaker of that House. He's getting from ridiculous to more ridiculous every day. I thought the first order of business would be to reverse the motion. But instead, he went on to take in other bills and then have Ernest Hilaire stand up and pontificate and talk about all kinds of things going back in history and all that, and then followed by Richard Frederick. And it went on, and now I'm seeing on my TV Musa Jean-Baptiste talking again, and they will use the whole day. And, you know, it's really saddening if they think St. Lucians are fools. All they're trying to do is to see if they can butter up themselves to make themselves feel good and cause some way that the leader of the opposition would come back in the House. And I agree with him. I wouldn't sit there and listen to those fools. They're nothing else but fools. They made an out, Timothy. They realized that they should not have tried to arrest the man because he didn't commit a crime. And they're just using the media and using public funds by having themselves on TV parading. Like, I mean, they just taken the whole day to suck up the 15 of them, suck up the vomit that they have spewed. You know, and people are not foolish. You think St. Lucians want to sit down again and listen to the matter with the deputy speaker and the deputy speaker and the deputy speaker going over and over and over again? These guys are making further idiots and ridiculing the Parliament of St. Lucia. I mean, any half-intelligent person would say they don't want to hear that now. Reinstate the man and call the judge and move on with the more substantial business that the people want to hear about, the hospital, the airport, and the different things in St. Lucia that can put bread and butter on the table and talk about the food prices and so on. Not there parading and talking about things that in the past, things that, while history is there, but people have heard that over and over again. When will somebody talk to the speaker and tell him stop doing the foolishness that he's allowing to happen? This morning when Bradley was getting up to make a statement, he asked Bradley about what relevance it is to the motion. But he allowed Richard Frederick to talk and talk and talk and talk and talk about things that had nothing to do with the motion. How worse can it get, Timothy? Goodness gracious, I feel sorry for St. Lucia if this is allowed to continue. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much. Kimani, what's happening in the chat room? And welcome back, by the way.
Let us see. Let's see. It's discussing behavior by those so-called ministers. History will not be kind to them. Another comment, someone said, let's see here, putting the people first, and they haven't passed one piece of legislation to improve the standard living citizens. Another comment, great move on the part of the government in its fight against the leader of the opposition and proving their point. However, how can he represent Mico if he can't lend his voice to the discussion? It's no different than having a wax model or a poster of him. Another comment, someone says, silence your critics, ignore your haters, and delete your cynics. Robin Sharma. Someone said in the chat room, what kind of ruling is this? I would rather not be there to just sit there, not being able to participate. Another comment, it's pitiful what SLP is doing right now, looking to save face in this situation, but instead showing some level of desperation. Despite the talk, the action must be taken. Surely the walk had been effective. Someone says, hopefully Hilaire will take his own advice and then advise his colleagues similarly. Another comment, people vote whoever they want in power. Let us not forget that. Someone else says, the speaker has to go. Another comment, the motion has not been set and discussion is ongoing bashing the leader of the opposition. Is that not a breach of the court order? I thought the order asked that it be the first thing to be done but is delayed deliberately. Let's see. Tim, what is the main reason the House is meeting today? Is it to attack the leader of the opposition? Tim, what's the...
Well, let's leave it as a rhetorical question. If you would have watched the proceedings earlier on today, then you would have to draw your own conclusion. But I believe that what is happening is an abuse of the democratic process. And, you know, when politicians behave that way, at some point in time, they would pay a heavy price. And normally that would be at the hands of the people come election day. But there's a lot of grandstanding that is taking place today in the island's parliament. I think a lot of time wasting. There's a lot of individuals just taking the opportunity to make a pitch to the electorate, and they're just not reading the minds of the voters of this country as far as they are concerned. What is important to them? I don't think it's this whole Alan Chastanet matter. Reinstate the man and let's move on. I think that's what most people will tell you in any civilized environment. After you've had a fight, something is pending before the islands, before the courts, what you might as well do, just trying to maintain the peace in the meantime, instead of, aggravating each other, aggravating the situation. I think that is what is occurring at this time. The broadcast will continue with more of your calls, your WhatsApp messages, and your comments in the chat room. You're watching NewsSpin on our NewsSpin Facebook page. We are also on YouTube as well as on Power 97.9 FM.
Treat yourself to KFC's new Genius menu. Get your choice of one-piece chicken, corn, and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, fries, and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, mac and cheese, and biscuit for just $11.50. Order now through WhatsApp at 4840400
or visit our website kfcslu.com
or dine in at any one of our locations. Now that's a genius choice with unbeatable value. KFC, finger licking good.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto parts you need? At Fayday Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu, To those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fede Auto Parts, Wadawaj. Why stop anywhere else?
Introducing the new LuSelect Virtual Service Desk, where one click is your access to every service. From My Account to streetlight reports, requests for payment arrangements to settle arrears, change of name and address. Easy online forms give you access from anywhere and at any time. Every service you need at your fingertips. Go to our website, luselect.com, and click on the Virtual Service Desk widget. LuSelect's Virtual Service Desk. Every solution at your fingertips.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarkets, contact number 452-8814.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Message. Good afternoon. Nothing has changed in Parliament. They continued the attack on the opposition leader. When will the government get on with the business of the people? Another one says that the instructions given by the court is that the leader of the opposition be allowed to return to the House. However, what I observed is that the ministers decided to hold court to condemn the opposition leader by highlighting past events that have no bearing on what should have happened today. I believe that Parliament has lost its way with this speaker who has shown once again how incompetent he is. We have a call. Good afternoon. Quick contribution. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Hey, pleasant. Good afternoon to you, Timothy, and your listeners all over the world.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
On the line. It's quite a while I haven't called the show because I've been quite busy because it's difficult running the sort of business that I run at the moment. Timothy, you know, last week you had a gentleman there on actually NewsSpin. He was from the United States. What is his name? He was in the U.S. Army.
Yeah, Mr. St. Rose, Edwin St. Rose.
St. Rose, yes. And he sound eloquent. He sound as if he's going to be, he's going to be probably a good representative to run for a constituency in St. Lucia. But there were also people that called, and a particular gentleman in particular called, and he said that, you know, if this gentleman is going to run up for a seat where there's ancillary canneries, that he's going to show his support behind him. Timothy, we have to be careful when people see that they want to show their support behind you, you know. We have to be careful, you understand, because a lot of people tend, they tend to try to be patriotic, or they try to be on the side of the cause for people, and they tend to come into, you know, politics because they believe that they want to do something for the people. But Timothy, you know, this gentleman that also called, and he said that he wanted to show his support behind that particular individual. You know, I'm not too sure whether this person is very patriotic to the party, or he is patriotic to the St. Lucia at large. I'm not too sure, you know, whether he is concerned about what he can gain from supporting somebody like Mr. St. Rose, or what he can get from supporting somebody like Mr. St. Rose. We have to be careful, you understand, in this sort of, you know, race, that this challenge that we face right now. We have to be careful of the people that come and support us, you understand, whether they're in to gain something or whether they're truly patriots of St. Lucia, Timothy. And the other thing I want
Okay, Colin, in the interest of time, because we want to take as many calls as possible today. So you have, thank you so much. What's that message? Somebody says, the parliamentarians on the government side love to participate in ego masturbation. Let's see if we have some more of your contributions to go through. Somebody says, Tim, let them dig their pit. The speaker and the present government, that's what they voted for. Shaking my head, shame, shame, shame. So many things they need to make sure is happening. Is the opposition leader they have on their mind. Fear him. He is truly an amazing leader. That is why they are so fearful of him. Let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Quick contribution.
Yes, good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to you.
I don't understand. I saw the House meeting this morning, and all I could hear is all about Chastanet. What is it they came to the House to do, really? I don't understand.
Well, I presented a motion, and they have to debate the motion, caller. So
but they have not done that.
They have to make reference to him from time to time, but they're rarely making reference to him, more than from time to time.
Okay, Tim.
All right. Thank you so much. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. We're trying to take as many calls as possible this afternoon. We have another call via WhatsApp. Hello. Good afternoon. You are on the air. Hello.
Hello.
Yes. Good afternoon to you, caller.
Good afternoon.
Yes, ma'am. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Tim, I want to make reference to the fact that the opposition leader is in the House of Parliament and he can't say anything, Tim. I cannot understand what sense is that. Because if you have him there to represent the people of Miku South, why can't he say anything, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of him sitting down in the House and saying anything? He's just there to be
Is there like a punching bag?
Be up, and that's exactly my point, Tim. He's just a punching bag. Because he can't represent his people, he can't speak or defend himself. He just have to sit down and take everything. Just take everything. And that doesn't make any sense to me, Tim.
It makes a mockery of the whole process, caller.
Tim, it makes a mockery of St. Lucia. Tim, I listened to Ernest Hilaire saying he wants the people of Miku South to have a voice. How can they have a voice, Tim, if the person representing them don't have a voice? But that's my contribution for today, Tim.
Okay.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much for sharing with us. 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Over to the chat room reporter, Kimani. What's happening there?
Someone says it is not the court that agreed to the motion today. It is Alan and his lawyers who wanted it and called it victory. Someone responded to this comment saying, so why was the speaker and Ernest Hilaire contradicting each other, i.e. referring to the court, but one of them wanting Miku North to be represented while simultaneously stating he can't participate?
And what was being said as well prior to today is that the affidavit, basically the agreement was not sanctioned by the court. But it had to be, it was sanctioned by the court because later we heard the speaker actually making reference to the court giving it its approval. Okay, so I really, that's confusing. But the court definitely had something to do with this decision that was reached between the two sides. We have a call. Good afternoon, NewsSpin, you're on the air. Quick contribution.
Good afternoon to you, Tim.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
I have never been a caller of radio stations or television stations. But to me, everything that happened in the country right now, I blame St. Lucians. My opinion is that St. Lucians are to be blamed for putting there's no opposition in the House. How can you vote an entire side in and just have one opposition?
Well, two opposition members, 15 to, yeah.
But that doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay, in a sense, this is what happened. You have two so-called independent MPs, right? Castries Central and Castries North, and then you have the two from the United Workers Party. That's 14 and 13 from the SLP.
Both of these guys were bought. They're actually in labor right now. Yeah, some of these guys were just bought. They actually bought the seat in.
I won't say they were bought. I think there was a deal prior to the last German election.
Okay, so what is the deal? Isn't the deal in a way of being paid these guys to come into us to make the opposition look little?
Caller, I didn't see any exchange of money, you know. I didn't see any exchange of funds, but I know there was some deal.
Exchange of funds,
yeah.
But I blame every St. Lucian for everything that's going on right now there. You vote out a working government just to put a whole bunch of jokers in there doing nothing. All they're doing is pointing fingers, suing this one, suing this now. Right now, all I'm seeing is right now there are three guys running the country. You understand? And the Prime Minister is a lapdog. That's all. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. But I think we are very much on pause. We are distracted. Yes, we have a central government, but I don't think that the substantive issues that are important to the people, those matters, unfortunately, are not being addressed. Kimani, chat room reporter, what's happening in the chat room?
Someone says, if Alan did not take this matter to court, they would have never reinstated him, so don't be fooled. Another comment, taxpayers paying these ministers just to attack Alan, SMH. Someone says, I'm sure even SLP supporters are tired of this Chastanet obsession. Another comment, someone says, little boys in a house playing with their toys. What a sad state of affair.
Okay, I think we have a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Poleon.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you. How are you?
I just want to... I'm okay.
All right.
I just want to make something clear.
You sound very young. You're about what, 15, 16?
No, I'm about 20. I'm 22 years old.
22. Okay, you look a lot younger. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I heard some UWP supporters saying about Claudius Francis is the problem. But when I listened and watched the House of Assembly, I see the leader of the opposition, that's a habit, disrespecting the chair. He did the same thing to Andy Daniel. He did the same thing to Leon Fiodor. So that's a habit. That's not something he is doing at the moment. He has been doing this for the past 15 years. So the problem is Alan Chastanet and his attitude. And he has to change his attitude and personality and have some respect for the chair. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. But he has not been in the parliament for 15 years, caller? All right. Let's take some more calls. Once again, 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. And again, Kimani, I don't know if you have any new discussion or comments in the chat room that's worth reporting on.
Someone said that Philip JP almost mentioned you in Parliament.
Again.
Another comment. Someone says, I must say this SLP administration is taking our lovely Helen of the West down a path where Helen is not applicable of surviving. Why do these guys think they are the smartest people in St. Lucia? How comes this SLP administration admit the fact that they're in power? They're the ones who supposedly take the country to another level. Why can't they realize that they have made promises to the people of the country and have to be delivered? How can these so-called smart politicians representing the people of the country? I'm sorry, but it's so frustrating to see. Someone says the young man is correct. Another comment, someone says, young caller, the chair or speaker must have respect for his position first. Someone else is saying, let's see, that's about it.
Yeah, I have a WhatsApp message calling on the people of Miku South to protest. And let's see if we have some more of your messages. Okay, let's take a call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Okay, we await some more of your calls once again at 452-2979, 452-2979. Good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hello, Tim.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Quick contribution.
How are you?
I'm okay. How about you?
Fine, thanks. Timothy, I'm a bit confused about what happened today. I'm a bit confused. What was supposed to happen in Parliament today?
Well, what we heard was supposed to happen is that this is supposed to be the first order of business, but it wasn't.
To me, it was a court case going on.
Yes, yes.
There was to me, Mr. Hilaire was like a lawyer presenting a case and pleading a case on behalf of the Speaker of the House of Assembly. That was strange. Now, was the opposition leader supposed to be in Parliament?
He could have been in Parliament but not participate in the proceedings, as we heard from the Speaker. So it's after the vote had taken place, or it has not taken place, after the vote, that's when he would have been able to speak. But by then, I think the proceedings would have ended. I don't think he would have been given an opportunity to rebut.
So did he sit in Parliament at all this morning?
He sat there for a few minutes.
And then he moved out?
Then he walked out.
Because to me, it was a sitting of humiliation.
Mm-hmm.
So he was supposed to sit there, and he is in. That's so strange. He is supposed to sit there while Mr. Hilaire, who is in court with him, abuse him verbally. No, let me take that back. Abuse him with humiliating speaking, and then also listen to the same person he's in court with, which is the Speaker of the House, telling him things about the same court case that they are going through. That, to me, that was so complicated. How can that happen?
Well, if you have a majority, at your disposal, then utilize that majority.
But Tim, to begin with, to be honest with you, the Speaker of the House should not be there. There should be somebody else, because he is involved in too many things. He is involved in too many things with the person that they are now involved in problems with now in court. Too many things. It's not fair. What is going to happen there will not be fair. That cannot be right. What I saw there this morning, it cannot be right. And I think the government needs to put somebody else there. Somebody that will be a mediator, because he cannot be a mediator. Timothy, somebody come and steal all your fruits in your garden. And that person now, you go to court if that person is for something else.
The person has been accused.
Yes, accused. Yeah. And you go to court. No. I think there should be another person there as a mediator, because Mr. Francis will not be fair. He is human. He will not be fair. I know that he will not be fair because he has to pay already. And another thing that came up this morning, and I found that so strange. And I'm hearing them saying the opposition leader is not able to pay. That's why he's asking for help so that he can pay. And so, but what they are trying to say is, if the leader of the
speaker
of the House, the people are paying for the Speaker of the House with his incompetence. Therefore, the people should pay for the leader of the opposition. He is a member of the House who was placed there by the people.
Yeah.
Look, this is so confusing, Timothy. It's not right. I think by now, Mr. Claudius Francis, in all fairness, I don't think he should be there right now. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. With all what's going on, put him, get somebody else and put them there. With all of what's going on, no, it's not right.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you so much for calling, ma'am. Appreciate your contribution. The leader of the opposition will be on the broadcast in just a moment, but let us take in some of your comments from the chat room. Kimani.
Someone says the speaker is exposed and he has proven that he can't be impartial. SMH. Another comment, the speaker must go. Someone says the voting was supposed to be the first order of the day. That did not happen. The speaker is in contempt. They are all in it together. Another comment, someone is saying, so they have their vendetta against the man and they don't expect him to defend himself. Someone says, I don't agree with the young caller, but I always love when young people take an interest in the affairs of the country. Someone says, I will have to migrate St. Lucia. St. Lucia is mad and off. Another comment in the chat room. Someone says, let's see. The speaker again has to go. And someone commented that the people of Miku South will have to turn up the pressure at the next sitting of the House. And trust me, it will be well organized. I think it's time for civil disobedient protest. No more peaceful protest. That's about it in the chat room.
Thank you so much. In just a bit, you'll be hearing from the leader of the opposition MP for Miku South. He's currently in studio, and he'll be taking his seat in just a moment. Please stay with us as we continue to watch NewsSpin right here on our NewsSpin page, also on YouTube, and listen on Power 97.9 FM.
The government of St. Lucia, through the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs, continues to provide more for pregnant women in St. Lucia. Through maternal and child health services under universal health coverage, pregnant women will receive laboratory and ultrasound services through community wellness centers island-wide at no cost. From care during and after pregnancy, vaccinations, family planning to nutritional and mental health counseling, we are here to support you. Take advantage of our weekly services at no cost. And from 1st June 2023, the addition of laboratory and ultrasound services will ease the pressure to aid healthier and safer delivery for you and your baby. Visit your nearest wellness center to register for universal health coverage. For more information, call 468-5300 or 468-5328.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Introducing the new LuSelect Virtual Service Desk, where one click is your access to every service. From My Account to Streetlight Reports, requests for payment arrangements to settle arrears, change of name and address. Easy online forms give you access from anywhere and at any time. Every service you need at your fingertips. Go to our website, luselect.com, and click on the Virtual Service Desk widget. LuSelect's Virtual Service Desk. Every solution at your fingertips.
Pli meilleure manière pour entrer indépendant, c'est là où ka conduire en loto qui ça ou. Avec First Wheels Hot First National Bank, nous ka offert l'intérêt qui bien bas et nous ka prêter tout l'argent pour acheter l'auto depuis ou satisfait tout ça qui mérite. Vini indépendant et prêter l'argent Hot First National Bank pour acheter First Wheels. Visitez n'importe branche et bien couillez téléphone 455-7000 et 455-717. First National Bank, here for you.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Flow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. Switch and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto parts you need? At Fede Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fede Auto Parts, Bois de Waj. Why stop anywhere else?
Treat yourself to KFC's new Genius menu. Get your choice of one-piece chicken, corn, and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, fries, and biscuit, or one-piece chicken, mac and cheese, and biscuit for just $11.50. Order now through WhatsApp at 484-0400
or visit our website kfcslu.com
or dine in at any one of our locations. Now that's a genius choice with unbeatable value. KFC, finger licking good.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarkets, contact number 452-8814.
Plastic Solutions, catering to all your commercial and domestic plastic and paper bag needs. We also manufacture printed and non-printed plastic bags. Located on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway, Plastic Solutions is an environmentally friendly company because of its high standard plastic recycling process. For orders and inquiries, please call 758-451-5577 or visit us on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway.
Automotive art is a place to start. Automotive art is a place to start.
Yeah, look, check. We got a wide range of products that are automotive and do-it-yourself supplies if you got a moment. Smart staff that'll always know it. Got rims and tires from trucks to high performance to off-roading. Start hair tools, batteries, oil, and car care.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Chrissy, go on, babe. You will be late for your appointment.
Papa, the water to our pressure, it running like oil.
Okay, let me fix that once and for all.
I go in by Europa, they have enough pumps there. Domestic and commercial, they have tough pumps there.
Europa is the boss for water pumps in St. Lucia. Check them out for any pressure boosting system you may need for both domestic and commercial applications. Best of all, Europa has the best prices, top quality, and after-sale support like no other. The Leo brand of water pumps will solve all your water pressure needs.
I go in by Europa, they have enough pumps there. Domestic and commercial, they have tough pumps there.
Contact us today at telephone 452-0763. Pumps.
Leader of the opposition and MP for Mico South is my guest during this segment, and he is Mr. Alan Chastanet. Welcome to the program, sir.
Great to be here again. I'm sorry for under the circumstances.
What circumstances?
You know, this just the complete abuse of our democracy, the embarrassment to our institutions in St. Lucia, and a political party that seems to not get it. I mean, they're just so drunk on their own arrogance and their self-importance that the essentials of running a country are going by the way. I mean, what has taken place today in the House is an absolute embarrassment, and it's an abuse of the offices that they hold.
What should have transpired this morning?
Very simple. The government, after we filed the case, would have clearly understood that they were in breach once again, that the court was going to put an injunction and allow me back into the House until the case was heard. They took front, came out and tried to convince the public of St. Lucia and convince my constituents that they all of a sudden recognized that their rights were being breached, and said that they would allow me back into the House, and that they would revoke the suspension. And so all that was supposed to happen in the House today was a motion being passed to, in light of what was taking place with the court, that the suspension was going to be revoked, pending the outcome of the court case. And
But the motion had to be debated, and that is what is taking place right now.
It didn't have to be debated because it was an undertaking by them. They debated it already internally, right? The leader of the government business, which is Ernest Hilaire, would have had a discussion with his colleagues, and they would have agreed, based on what was happening with the court, to agree and to give the court the undertaking that that they would allow me back into the House. So that internal debate took place. What has transpired right now, first of all, the details in which they went into the case is a breach of the standing orders. The Standing Order 35 is very clear that members should not be discussing any matters pertaining to a court case that's currently undergoing, and it would be the opinion of the speaker. The speaker is involved in the case. So he must understand that any discussions are prejudicing either my chances or his chances, and it should not be allowed. So that's what I'm saying to you. It's an abuse of our democracy. It's an abuse of the judicial system, and it's frightening that these guys continuously make these kinds of mistakes, and that's why you have to say that they're drunk on their own self-importance, and they've lost an understanding and appreciation of what the priorities are. They are protecting the victory. Every action is about protecting the victory, and that they're prepared to suppress our rights of freedom, our rights of speech, our freedom of movement, and more importantly, I am in the House both as a member of Parliament as well as the leader of the opposition. Both positions recognized by the Constitution. And the democracy that we live in, which is enshrined in our Constitution, protects my voice in those positions so that we can be checks and balances. The media are protected so that they can be a check and balance. The independence of the judiciary. That's why whenever we see politicians appointing judges or ex-politicians becoming judges, those should be red flags because they're supposed to be the independence of the judiciary. We have to have confidence that when the judiciary makes a decision, that it's a decision that we believe that was unbiased and was objective. That's what our democracy is built on. When you now start undermining those things, Tim, so when a minister of government can come and attack you, when a minister of government who lost his bank account would come out and publicly attack the managing director of the bank, and that nobody says anything, these are the things that we need to stand up and protect. It's not about Alan Chastanet. The march this morning was a march for democracy. Whether you're a Labour or Flabo, it's about the rule of law. It's about what is in our Constitution and to protect us from anyone believing that they can be an autocrat in our country.
The affidavit, there are 5 points. Number 4 says that notwithstanding, I am authorized to inform the court that the government members of the House have considered the needs of the constituents of Mico South to have representation in the House and the need to have the minority views in the House canvassed, and have accordingly decided that on May 16, 2023, or such other later date, that the House may convene, a government member of the House will propose a motion to lift the sanction against the claimant, which is the subject of the present dispute. So it's inevitable, it will happen. But the rationale is already declared. They had an internal discussion. There was no need for this long debate. But what they did is they used the opportunity. I can say that. Okay, everybody can see it for themselves. They used the opportunity that until the motion is passed, I cannot say anything. So here it is. You can go and say whatever you want to say about Alan Chastanet, because that's what it was, a beat up of Alan Chastanet. A question of my character. I mean, when you're telling me you want to get there and have this discussion about the Deputy Speaker of the House, for 5 years, you were saying that it was illegal. Why you didn't take us to court? You have two members, Stephenson King and Richard Frederick. Stephenson King was the Prime Minister when the Labour Party walked out because there was no Deputy Speaker. That was in 2011.
Right, so it was okay. He was defending it as being right then, and now all of a sudden it's wrong? And then you want to come and say that I'm against the amendments? The amendments that they've made is a joke because the amendments are contradictory to what they said. They said that the Deputy Speaker of the House should come from the government side. Why is it that's not the amendment they made? How come they didn't make that amendment and just make it very clear that the Deputy Speaker must come from the government side? They didn't do that. And in fact, I can tell you on your show today that what they have done, they're not going to be able to bring in the member from Mico North to be a minister. So again,
why?
Because they have fooled the people from Mico North. Because the amendment that they made was to Section 36, which is fine.
Yeah, they could appoint somebody who was not an elected member.
But then you also have to amend Section 30, which deals with the composition of the House. So when you go to Section 30 of the Constitution, it clearly states that a speaker can either be a person from the House of Parliament or a non-elected. But once they hold the position of the Speaker of the House, that they will be considered a member of Parliament. And it makes the same provisions for an Attorney General. You have it. Why don't you read it?
So the composition of Section 30.
So what's the title?
The House of Assembly.
No, the composition.
Composition, yes. Composition, it goes on to talk about the qualifications for election. But the composition, 30. The House shall consist of such number of members as corresponds with the number of constituencies for the time being established in accordance with the provisions of Section 58 of this Constitution, who shall be elected in accordance with the provisions of Section 33 of this Constitution.
So let's stop there. So that means that the persons who are elected in constituencies, the 17 constituencies, are members of the House.
And goes on to, if a person who is not a member of the House is elected to be Speaker, he shall, by virtue of holding the office of Speaker, be a member of the House. Goes on, at any time when the office of Attorney... Okay, that's not relevant.
No, it is.
At any time when the office of Attorney General is a public office, the Attorney General shall, by virtue of holding or acting in that office, be a member of the House.
So that section of the Constitution must be amended to say that if you are a Deputy Speaker who is not a member of the House, that you automatically, by holding the position, are going to be a member of the House. Now, here's the problem. Section 30, to amend Section 30 requires a referendum.
Is that a sense you're getting from the government side that they have erred in this particular matter?
You know...
Or have you received any legal guidance on this particular issue?
I have received legal guidance. We've gone through this. All right? It's very clear that it's okay to amend Section 36, which speaks to a person being either a public officer or an elected officer to be the Speaker of the House. So right now, to be a Deputy Speaker of the House, you must be elected MP.
Mm-hmm.
It then goes on and says anyone who is a minister or a parliamentary secretary cannot be the Deputy Speaker. And therefore, when we speak about electing a deputy speaker of the House, when it's convenient, it's for the remaining persons who are not in cabinet to elect a person among themselves. Now, if the opposition at the time did not want to do that, then I can't force them to do that. But don't say that it prevents the House from proceeding. It doesn't. There's only one time that the House must have a deputy speaker, and that's at the first session of Parliament after an election. It goes on to say, if at any time a deputy speaker resigns, it is whenever the members who are eligible, okay, elect, whenever the members of Parliament, not the government, of Parliament, want to elect a member when it's convenient. And that person must be somebody who is not holding a position.
Yeah, but the onus therefore should have been on the elected, all the elected MPs to have elected a deputy speaker.
Correct.
Yeah?
And guess what? We nominated them. We nominated all of them. And they all turned it down.
So eventually, based on the affidavit, you will be back in the island's parliament. I imagine by the next sitting, you'll be able to make your contribution.
I was in the House today.
Mm-hmm.
I was allowed back in the House. I sat in my seat.
Yes, but the motion is still being debated.
No problem. The only thing is I cannot say anything, right? I cannot make a contribution.
Saying at the end of today's contribution.
No, at the end of today's debate, which is being hopefully completed now, right? From that moment on,
you will be able to make a contribution.
I'll be able not only to sit in Parliament, but also to be able to speak.
And you're satisfied with this?
Yes, but
why did you walk out of Parliament in the first place?
Because it was
while the motion has been debated.
Because it was an abuse of a privilege. As you read, the undertaking they gave to the court, that they had a discussion. They agreed to suspend it. Okay, I get one person getting up. I understand Picon, but to allow the member to discuss the details of the case, as if they're going to adjudicate the case. All the issues that Ernest brought up in the House were issues that are pending to the courts. It's for the court to make that final determination. And what? You're going to criticize me because I went to the courts to seek protection? You want to tell the public today that I have complained that I was not given an opportunity to apologize? Apologize for what? Withdraw what statement? There's a whole bunch of procedural issues that we've brought up in the court. The first one being, should the Speaker have heard the point of order in the first place?
The point of order by the Country Central MP.
Correct, because he wasn't in the House. And when he got into the House, I had already completed my statement. That's questionable. And then now it is very clear the point of order that he made was that he wanted me to prove that Parcel 11 and Parcel 50 were one and the same. He never brought up anything about corruption. Right? So how is it that all of a sudden the Speaker went on a folly of his own, asking me to apologize for things that were never even brought up in the point of order? And then now, when you stand on a point of order, okay, where have you ever heard that you stand on a point of order and then they give you 20 minutes to do a full presentation? Normally you stand on a point of order, you say the person's misleading the House. Okay, and here's why I think he's misleading the House. It's for the Speaker to say so. But what did the Speaker tell him? He said to him, the things that you're asking the leader of the opposition is allowed to ask those questions, and he does not have to provide any proof. Am I inventing that? That was for everybody to hear. Okay? And so how is it that we left on Friday to come back on Tuesday where he's now making a full 20-minute presentation? I let him speak in silence. The Speaker let him speak in silence. The House let him speak in silence. He's telling me he did not have to give me the right of a rebuttal. That's how justice works in the system now? So you want to go and make all these allegations. I had not even been speaking for a minute and a half. And the Speaker's already interrupting me. Look at the language that Richard used to describe me. Really? That's permissible? And so that when he interrupted me, I said, I would have hoped that you would have interrupted us 20 minutes ago, because that's when the process started. So today was supposed to be a simple process. Y'all came to the court. You gave the court an undertaking. You said that you all had a discussion and that you felt that the people from Mico South were being aggrieved, and therefore you allow me back into the house. You now want to go and discuss the details. And when Bradley stood up on a point of order of Section 35 and said, you're not supposed to be discussing those details, the Speaker says, is not, in his opinion, that's not the case. Well, again, now it speaks to the confidence that me as a parliamentarian and that the general public ought to have in the Speaker's capacity and his partiality. Time and time again, he's showing that he's not fit to hold that office.
We will take your calls right now at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages, 716-2026. During this segment, I have as my guest the leader of the parliamentary opposition, also MP for Mico South, Mr. Alan Chastanet. So some quick contributions from you, members of the public, as we continue this unending debate, unending discussion on those exchanges that have been occurring between some on the government side and, of course, the opposition leader. We have a WhatsApp call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You are on the air.
Tim.
Good afternoon.
Yes, Tim. I just want to say to Alan Chastanet, I am standing with you in solidarity. We're going to walk. We're going to fight for democracy on the radios, in the parliament, the people parliament. Don't worry about the parliament inside there. We're going to do what we're going to do. But Tim, I just wanted to say that the last caller that called and tell you that Alan Chastanet needs to change his attitude and whatnot and whatnot. I just want this young man, I know he's listening, to hear me and say the script they gave him to read, it doesn't even make sense, because if he is a young man that is coming up and is doing his homework properly, the Speaker of the House wouldn't lose in court if Alan Chastanet had a bad attitude. The Speaker of the Minister of Government and Business wouldn't have to do what he's doing right now to make Alan Chastanet come back into the House of Parliament. So, Tim, a few weeks ago, I said we're going to fight for democracy, Tim, and I'm seeing it happening, Tim. This country is not a police state. This country is a very powerful and loving country. And, Tim, thank you, Alan Chastanet, for being there with us. Sir John was the father.
All right, thank you so much, sir. We have another call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Tim.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you, caller.
I'll try to be brief. I just wanted to state that I think it's important, the positions that the leader of the opposition is taking, more so not just for him as an individual, but for the wider public. Not that I believe in unrest and chaos, but that if we know procedures and laws are not being followed, that we have to stand up for it. I think, most importantly, 1 month's fight today, which will lead to a victory for him, is a victory for another man tomorrow without him having to undertake that same fight. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's await some more of your calls once again at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages at 716-2026, and that is 716-2026. We have another call. Hello, good afternoon.
Tim boy.
Good afternoon to you, sir. Quick comment, quick contribution, sir.
Well, I ain't got no time for quick comments, so maybe I should just hang up.
Now, go ahead, Rick. Go ahead.
You know, it's and that's not partisan, Tim. I'm asking myself, is it at all possible for an intelligent person who knows the history of this country, who has taken an interest, close-up interest in the politics of this country, is it possible for that person to say anything concerning what he sees as contrary to what the book says, standing orders, etc., contrary behavior? Is it possible for him to point one out without some other person accusing him of engaging in whataboutism? Do you understand what I'm asking? I can say it again, explain it again. Because we have turned the House of Parliament into a shambles for so long, Tim, that you cannot seriously discuss anything without somebody saying, what about this one? What about that?
Mm-hmm.
Because when the time is right, was right to do things to correct and perhaps avoid what is happening now, we did not do it, regardless what party was in office. We did not do it out of convenience, and we think we're having, this whole thing, for example, I'll give an example of the deputy speaker. Both parties, like other parties before them, played with that. That is the truth. The politician will not admit that, and I'm not going to ask Mr. Chastanet to admit that, but I am an observant person. I have been involved. I've seen it happen before. Like, for example, a number of clips were shown in the House this morning. Nice theater. But what if Bradley, I don't know if he has authority, had decided to show the clip, that well-known clip you have, with Rosie Mathurin as Speaker of the House?
And I think we have that clip. We're supposed to have that clip.
But I'm saying, right about, somebody's going to say to you, well, that's whataboutism.
Mm-hmm.
But what it is the mess. When I said on my show, I'm going to include there, that this parliament we have there is a parliament put down there by the colonials for the purposes of the colonials they were leaving behind. And it never occurred to them that the time would come, and here comes my word, Jim, KNWGHARS is coming. It never occurred to them that the day would come when the niggers, meaning me and everybody else, would take that house and turn it into our plaything. Our niggers come in all kind of colors, by the way. All kind of colors, all kind of shapes and sizes. So there we have, that's the kind of parliament we have had, and we have had a number of opportunities to modify, to amend rules, and we did not, again, out of convenience for the politicians. The matter of the CCJ, no real stuff, out of convenience to the politicians. The politicians have been doing as they please with the people for as long as I've known myself in this country. In other countries, they cannot do it. Trump would like to do all kinds of things in the state with all his billions. He cannot do it, Tim. What's his name in England, the UK? Johnson is before Privileges Committee. And by the way, he has just asked, he just stated that he doesn't want the lawyers that the government gives him, which tells you the government gives him lawyers,
right,
as opposed to here.
Mm-hmm.
And all of those things, we have allowed everything that is supposed to be exemplary in our country to become a shit pen, Tim. I'm angry as to what has happened to our country and the contributions by everybody, including myself, when at times I may have leaned toward one side for whatever reasons. Okay? I have had ample time to sit back and see where I should not have done that, because that gives support to that. But usually it's one guy who's supporting, like whoever was telling you the speech a while ago about Mr. St. Rose. I thought about that too, because Mr. St. Rose can come into office with all the greatest of intentions. He will, by the circumstances, soon be reduced to another yard fowl in the House. That is what the House, that's what our politics do to the best intentions. It cannot be that all of those guys who seem to have potential, from George Odlum to Kenny Anthony to Von Lewis, you name the names, Tim, and they all end up in one way or another disappointing the people. And the people keep on in their partisan way. The people who are supporting the democracy march, call it by whatever name you want, as far as they and others looking on were concerned, they have not been able to rise above with supporting Alan. And I'm telling you, even with the best intentions, I doubt there was anybody on that line genuinely supporting free speech, supporting order, supporting law and order. I didn't have one person make a statement about the fact that if Alan Chastanet goes to court again, as I suggest he might, because I will address that to Mr. Chastanet. This morning, it seemed to me that Bradley was underscoring a point regarding the motion not being on the order paper. And I am just looking at it now, and from everything I understand there, it seems to me that that motion should have been on the order paper. Am I correct that it was not, Mr. Chastanet?
Correct.
If that is so, then from what I'm reading there, we started off on the wrong foot already. That the motion should have been on the order paper. So procedurally, if I am correct in what I'm just reading, I've read it 4 times. If I am correct, having read this thing 4 times, then the thing started off on the wrong foot. Then you have a matter of the Speaker of the House has every personal reason. He said it and he has acted it out, and we know the Speaker of the House would not invite Alan Chastanet to his birthday party. We know that. They are, in fact, in the eyes of everybody, enemies, Tim.
Yeah.
In the eyes of most people in this country, Alan Chastanet and Claudius Francis, and I'm not saying one or the other, are enemies of one another. Am I correct in that perception?
Yes, you are. You are correct.
Then you had Joachim Henry, who I understood was in court only last week with the with Mr. Chastanet on a matter, and that matter also brought up memories of his son. Am I correct on that, Mr. Chastanet?
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying, Tim? So, Claudius Francis has his personal problems going on. Joachim Henry has his personal problems going on. Let's not even talk about Richard. You know, that's where it starts. King. Almost every one of these guys has a very personal vendetta going on. And that doesn't make Mr. Chastanet saintly. It means Mr. Chastanet also has his own problems with those guys as well. Bottom line, we have both sides of the house at each other's throats for personal reasons, Tim. Personal reasons. And we're looking on like sheep and talking a load of nonsense. You know how many marches for justice, marches for democracy, marches for bread I have covered and have been in the belly of the beast of enough to be able to tell you, party show. The only thing left in this country, Tim, I dare say, and I am not recommending it, I just fear it. The only thing left in this country is to take up examples from the Haiti issue, you know. And I'm being very careful. We are forcing ourselves into a situation because apparently the law is useless. Like I was telling you last week, you can have all the rights in the world and you don't have the money to hire a lawyer, and the other guy has and has a couple of friends there. You lose. So that the court does not, our courts in no way begin to guarantee justice. I don't know if any court does, but at least those other courts appear. We know in advance, depending who you are, who you support, how much money you have, whether you can afford a lawyer or not, you suck salt. Is that true or not, Tim?
It's a fact.
We have returned to the bush in the worst way. And we have landlords like we had in the days of slavery. It doesn't matter what color. It ain't color that's making people landlords of slavery. It is your heart, your mind, the way you think. And I'm painting everybody with that brush, and all those supporters of party. They are the biggest endorsers, all of them, of enslavement. So when I listen to your show, I'm just shaking my head. You know, another march, another person going to push tape, or another person going to write something stupid at Chastanet was this and that. Even the law, Tim, even the law. And you remember, by the way, I'm about to finish. Remember last week, Tim, I spoke about leaving words to interpretation. When I said to you, I would have been happier, I personally, if I were involved, I would have been happier had the court determined that come the next sitting of Parliament, the government side will lift without any discussion or debate on the case, will lift that suspension, because they are pending other matters to come before the court.
Yeah.
So if the whole thing is to give the people of Miku their MP back, the court then should have guaranteed that the Miku MP would not be a doormat or a toilet paper or anything like that. It would simply state, since you have the other side has withdrawn the need for an injunction. And by the way, had they granted the injunction, it would simply mean the Miku South MP would be back in the house operating here.
Correct.
Okay?
So therefore, you're saying that a case should have been made for it, for the lifting of the suspension.
I am saying the withdrawal prevented any discussion, any need for it. But if the MP really was only concerned with the people of Miku South, allowing the injunction would have guaranteed the MP from Miku South would be in his chair representing the people of Miku South until the rest of the case has been heard, right? So the withdrawal was no indicator of love for the people of Miku, and the idea of telling us that is an insult to our intelligence again, which obviously these politicians think we don't have.
Okay, Rick, we'll have to end it there. It's already 6 minutes after 2. Thank you so much for your contribution as usual. Your reaction?
Look, I think that Rick brings up a lot of very, very relevant points. And the system has been broken for a long time. And partly the reason why the system is broken is because we take such little interest, Tim, in appreciating what a constitution is, and not appreciating what a democracy is. And I've always complained that, other countries had to fight for it. It was given to us. And the time that we need to take to opine and determine whether, in fact, that the Constitution speaks to us as persons, and that we're going to fight for it. Do we really understand what a democracy is? Do we believe in a democracy? Those are all important questions. So even when we talked about we had the review of our Constitution, in part it touched a little bit on the culture, but it was more about the processes. But we need to understand what it is to say that we have freedom of speech. We have to understand and appreciate what freedom of movement is. We have to have an appreciation for the discrimination. All those things are incredibly important. Now, for most countries in the world, those are basic civil rights. But then there are a whole bunch of other things that are more ambiguous, to Rick's point, that we're not doing a good enough job of articulating.
So you're saying that if you have a return of the United Workers' Party administration, you at the helm, that you'll pay great attention to issues of that nature? Look, I think people like Mary Frances, they would be disappointed in you in terms of the level of support that the previous administration should have provided to an attention to matters relating to human rights.
I don't want to overly criticize myself. We were trying to deal with a lot of issues: economic, social, infrastructural, and then, as I said, when you get into government, there are things that you can't anticipate. We wouldn't. Who anticipated COVID? But even constitutionally, I was limited. I didn't have 2/3 majority. We did put together a committee to try to get some things done. Like, for instance, a very important issue coming up that we all have to take a very strong interest in is the boundaries. We have a census. That's when most parliamentary governments amend their boundaries, is after a census, and that there's a process. It has long been accepted, and we now know why, a Speaker of the House shouldn't be the chairman
of the Boundaries Commission.
Of the Boundaries Commission. The Parliament only makes 2 decisions. How many seats are we going to have? Is it 17? Is it 19? Is it 21? Is it 23? And the Constitution calls it all seats are of equal size. It's Parliament that can amend that and say within 10%, within 5%, within 20%. Those are the 2 things that Parliament should make. There should be no more involvement from the politicians. But we for these things to matter, Rick is right, they have to become important to us. So when you have the president of the trade union,
TUF,
right, to say what? That the Labour Party came out of the bosom of the labor movement and that it's our party. So imagine now, I am now re-elected as Prime Minister, United Workers' Party government. When I sit down to negotiate with the unions, what do I think of them? They have now admitted that they're a Labour Party. Nobody from the unions has come out to say that that's not true. Okay? You have institutions in which Labour Party people are heading the institutions, and it seems that they are able to cause those institutions to go the way of the Labour Party. And I can give you a multitude of examples, and they're probably examples of United Workers' Party as well. And persons are supposed to recognize as members of these institutions that they need to be impartial. And what people say and how they do it and how you come to decisions, that we must hold those things accountable. That's why we talk about the integrity of our institutions. When I am a member of the Hotels Association, it's not my Hotels Association, it's our collective membership, not politics. So what I'm scared of is that in part, all of this chaos, which is important to discuss, moves us away from what has caused this problem to begin with. The Bonanza land. And what appears to be corruption. Why? A piece of land was valued at $6.7 million in 2013. My understanding is that the board members of the Housing Authority did not even know of the existence of the valuation that was done in 2013. So they go and do a new valuation. It's $3.5 million. Even common sense ought to tell people on the board, $35 a square foot for that land? Does that make sense? And then you turn around without putting it out to tender, you sell it for $27 a square foot. You sell it to a lady who has a job, has never had no track record of building anything. But her father has. So who's bought the land? Did she buy the land or did the father buy the land? And if in fact the father bought the land, why has he not come out publicly and declared that he's bought the land? And tell the public what he intends to use the land for. How is it you're going to tell me you're going to take a prime piece of land and not pronounce what you're going to do?
Why should he have to speak on this particular matter when an individual purchased the land? It's only that that person is related to him.
That's what I didn't say. I said if in fact he's the real purchaser, if in fact that he gave her the money, if in fact he's the beneficial owner, then he ought to come out publicly and say so. If in fact he's not going to say so, then we have to, as the general public, believe that she bought the land in her own right. And that's what makes this even more egregious. Why? Why would they have sold it to her? For what? What's going to be the land going to be used for? You have a situation where Richard has, for the longest time, lost his personal visa and his diplomatic visa. They go through a facade of sending him to the UN where he can get a one-entry visa to go to the States. They try to sell off as that he's gotten his visa back. Up to now, the same government that criticized him when he lost his visa now want us to somehow believe that something has changed? He, Richard Frederick, not anybody else in St. Lucia, no media house, not the opposition, no one in St. Lucia made a comment about Richard losing his bank account. He came out and said it. You don't think it's odd that you have a minister of government who's lost his visa and now has lost his bank account, right? And that there's no investigation, there's no explanation, and then he so happens to be the same person involved in this nonsense? And that there's a string of things that are associated to Richard? And the government doesn't believe they have to be accountable to it? The situation with Ernest Hilaire, the situation with the minister's account, all of these situations, the situation that took place in a church, and then you turn around after the person was involved in that church affair, you double down on it, and you make him in charge of church affairs.
Well, prior to that, the people elected him into office. Final comment, sir. What is next for you, sir, in this whole saga?
Look, I think that maybe if there's one area of little change, and I want to blame it on my youth. I'm not as experienced and not as been around as long as Richard. Rick. I believe in process. And before I can throw a system under the bus completely, and maybe Rick has gone through that in his own way, and he's completely entitled to say what he said. But for me, I'm going through a process. I'm trusting the courts. I'm trusting the general public. I'm putting these things out in a way that I'm trying to act responsibly. I think that today's march was a significant step up from where we came last time. I'm hoping more and more persons will appreciate what this march was about. Hopefully that persons would have seen the behavior of the government in the House today and would condemn it. And therefore, the public pressure must rise commensurate with what's taking place. The court has ruled twice. Nobody believes that the Labour Party all of a sudden woke up and was concerned about the people in Mico South. They made that change because they knew they were going to lose in the court. And today was to try to convince people that they're not the ones having to eat their own vomit. That's exactly what took place today. And they went on a charade to prosecute my reputation. And I must sit in the House. But again, I'm saying to everybody, they're not attacking Alan Chastanet. They think they're attacking Alan Chastanet, but they're attacking the MP from Mico South, and they're attacking the leader of the opposition, which are critical institutions in our Constitution that we must uphold. There's a level of behavior, of decorum that you're supposed to have. They abused it. That's what took place in the House today. And so until the public and the civil society stand up and say, enough is enough. It's not about whether you support Labour or United Workers Party. That doesn't matter today. Do you support the Constitution? Do you support the idea of democracy? Do you support the idea of independence of institutions? Do you support that people's voices are entitled to ask questions of any government? If you don't believe in that and you believe in an autocratic government, then let's stop fooling ourselves and going through this charade of pretending to have two parties. If we're going to now allow a person or a party to come in and abuse its office and suppress people's rights, suppress people's voices, to amend laws that are clearly in breach of our Constitution, to take actions in the House that are directly in breach of our Constitution and breach of our civil rights, in breach of the system that holds them accountable. If that's what we're going to do, then let me know so we can go about our business. And are we going to have elections anymore? Because that's where we're getting to the point. If you're going to say that they're allowed to do whatever they want to, you don't think that they're going to say, well, to hell with elections?
Thank you, sir, for being my guest on this afternoon's NewsSpin broadcast. As usual, to you, thank you so much for watching on our NewsSpin Facebook page, as well as on YouTube, and listening on Power 97.9 FM. Coming up next, The Power Drive. I'm Timothy Poleon saying goodbye.